We're live. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. I am Paul Ash. They Talk Funny. We got people already filtering in, so if you want to just click like, say hello, say happy holidays, etc., let us know. My guest today, because guests, it's usually only a single guest on the show. I decided to double up for the holidays. We've got both Christmas and Hanukkah. We've got Oren Shbiro and Jason Celin. The two fantastic comedians based in Montreal, and they are also the Friendship Hour podcast, and they've been kicking ass recently. So considering the lockdown, welcome guys. How are you doing?
Pretty good, Paul. How are you?
I'm well. You should be cutting off my verbal diarrhea at any time. It's all good. For those who are just watching They Talk Funny for the first time, it is about comedy, writing, life during COVID, and plans for the future. And I've got these two fantastic performers here. Normally, the first question I kind of ask every performer I have on is, how would you describe your style of comedy? Now, since you two are such good friends, I'm actually going to ask Oren if you will describe Jason's style of comedy, and then Jason, if you can describe Oren's style of comedy.
Jason's, bad, I would say. Really racist and kind of just derogatory towards women. It's kind of been a problem that we've been addressing on the podcast since we started. And no, that's obviously all a joke. Jason is... Jason likes to talk about food. I think that's the only thing he's got going on in his life, so he brings it up a lot. Is that accurate, Jason, do you think?
I would say pre-COVID it was accurate, but since COVID, the only thing I've written about since COVID is all about I don't know, my ass. Just just talk the other part of food, the way it comes out. Yeah.
As you get older, you follow the travel of the food.
Yeah, it's my journey right now. So. Oren is what he used to describe me as a joke. I would say is how I would describe his comedy. It's just very dirty, just ranting monologues about his sexuality and his performance in that realm. And I don't think that's a joke. I think it's 100% factual.
So that's true.
I would say it's 90% sex and then 10% work experience. And sometimes that there's a Venn where those two things from his earlier days in the red light district.
I never talk about my religion. That's good. That's
accurate. You never talk about religion, no. No, there's an overarching Jewishness that just permeates throughout everything. So it's Jewish food, Jewish sex, and that's it.
I tried to ask you to write my bio for this, Jason. You didn't want it, but it would have been a great idea, I think.
All right. Okay. So you two, how long have you been friends? Did you guys actually meet through comedy, or did you?
Yes. Yeah. We met. I forget where we met the first time. Maybe the Nest, I guess. But I think we hit it off at the old Yellow Door when they had a mic.
That's, there was this little mic going on in the McGill ghetto. It was like, I guess it's called a cafe, but really just like a student, just like a area rented out purely for students. And in the basement, they had a cafe style place, and they had a mic there that would have an attendance of a maximum of 3.
Yeah, 3. I think it was a 3 max.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I feel very lucky for the night that I actually played Yellow Door. Then, so I got upwards into the 10s.
Okay, yeah, that's a good night there.
That's huge. I was talking to Jason about my first payday was at the Yellow Door, and it was a toonie. So
yeah,
first time getting paid in comedy. So
you get paid in comedy?
Yeah, exactly.
There is, by the way, for those of you just joining us, just drop it into chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Say hello. Now, also for those of you, I just started a new YouTube channel specifically for this show. So if you want to check that out, please hit subscribe. We got not only these fantastic comics, but we got people like Chris Fonseca coming up in the new year. So I'm kind of psyched. Now, you guys also ran an open mic, but let's before we move into that, we're not going to mention that.
No, it's not an.
It was a
open mic,
booked
it's
show.
It was a booked show.
It was a
Sorry,
comedy
would we say
showcase.
Pro-Am?
Yeah,
Pro-Am
sure.
showcase?
That's,
100%
yeah.
Okay, it was a
Pro-Am.
Pro-Am
Open mic.
showcase. It wasn't an open mic, and I should be better at that distinction. And thankfully, you guys did book me. But when it comes to writing, do you both have a similar discipline to it? Do you like to write together, or no?
No, I don't really. I mean, Jason could probably talk a lot more because my writing, I tend to come up with an idea and rant on it at open mics until I find the funniest parts of it, and then I take those parts and craft them into a joke and whittle it down until it's just the best. And at that point, I'll usually start to write my joke down in a book when I feel like I have it whittled down. Then I'll start playing with words a little bit more. So I'm much more of like an idea, find the laughs in it, and then just take parts away until it's as clean and as simple as it possibly can be by the end of it.
Comedy writing being editing.
Yeah.
And Jason.
Well, I don't think, successfully written with anyone else in terms of like stand up. It's always just like I've tried to do like writing sessions with people and it just hasn't worked out. With sketch, obviously, it's worked out great writing with other people. But stand up, I used to just write it all and almost say it word for word. And then what I tried to do in the last year or two is to kind of write it all down and try to just whatever, like not even read it again before I go on stage, and whatever sticks is probably gonna be the funniest part, and then I'll build around that after, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, Jason has a whiteboard where he kind of
I do have a whiteboard.
Writes things up, his jokes, and then like thinks he's like the Russell Crowe from
A Beautiful Mind.
A Beautiful Mind, and sits there like he's crafting. I don't know. But yeah, but that's
the whiteboard's
so
great. You have a whiteboard too now.
Yeah, I do. I do have one.
There's something about it, just being able to erase instead of scratch out like something on paper. I don't know. It's like the immediacy of like the editing is great.
Right. Yeah.
If I can start a fight between the two of you, it's I always found Jason on stage to be much more method, or there was definitely, you could see the methodology in his writing and his crafting. And Jason, I know your jokes on the subject, but it was very mathematical. You were using math
Right
in your joke writing a lot. Where Oren, that looser style, it really came across that your jokes were being driven by your personality.
Yeah. I mean, because if you don't have one like Jason, you got to figure out a way to make words funny. So you do some equation, and
Oren is just a bullied theater kid at heart. That's all it is. He's just putting on a show for all the other little camp kids who, at Jewish summer camp.
Is this Meatball 6 that you guys are writing together?
Exactly.
I can't sue him for slander, I'll tell you that.
Everything I say is true.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Jason, you obviously seem to have, again, more of the structure. Are you disciplined with your writing? Do you? I mean, you said that you're not writing as much during lockdown, but do you set aside a certain amount of time a day or a week to write?
I don't know if I can answer that right now because I feel like it's been so long since stand-ups happened. Before I had less of a day job than I do now. I had a lot more free time. So I would just write. I would just take out the notebook any time of day and just like kind of just rewrite over and over again the same words, just the same jokes over and over again. And they kind of just change a little bit over time, I didn't really set aside any time. I just would do whatever I had nothing else to do. But I don't know how that applies now anymore.
Did you find that like by rewriting it, you were able to edit and trim it down, sort of as Oren was saying that he would be doing that on stage, working out in rooms?
Cutting off the fat,
Yeah. And Oren, like you said that you take the ideas onto stage, or you get an idea of something to be funny, but you don't write it down until you've tried it a few times.
Yeah, just because I have an idea, I go over it 100 times, like in my head, and then I just bring it to as many open mics as I can, and continue just telling the story, and then I'll listen to the recordings and find, or I'll use my memory, but my memory is jaded sometimes. I'm like, I murdered last night, that was crazy, and then you listen back and you're like, that was just Jason laughing at you in the background. There's no actual laughter going on. So I get to that point where when I know something's strong, that's when I start taking out of it, So at first I have a nugget of idea and I throw everything I have at it, tell it all in open mics, and then start taking away from it and try to listen to what it is. And then, like Jason said, the amount of times I've decided I'm going to write this joke down, the official joke, and I write the first part of it, and then I just stop, and then I have that first part written in 7 notebooks, because I've had that idea so many times, and then just, okay, all right, I know the rest of it, all right?
Yeah, I won't kind of go to my shelf of notebooks. I just got so many notebooks with. Personally, it almost feels like it's a fetish object.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And I think
I fondled them for ideas.
I wanted to say before that so just to make myself look good, I won a lot of vaudeville, which was like a competition show that you run, Paul, week by week, and I was on it for like 6 to 7 weeks in a row. And that was one of the first times I was able to have a good audience to work on the same set over and over again. And every time I listened to it, I probably took a little part out of it and made it shorter and shorter. And by the end of that run, I was never more confident in a bit in my life. It all of a sudden showed me, like, it made me write the bit. I created that bit in those 7 shows with that amazing audience that just let me know this was funny, this isn't. And then I got to run the rest of the year with only that material. Never write again. So, it works.
Peter Bowen is just checking in. A little bit of laughter. But Gabriel Amassi is say they talk unfunny.
Can we swear on this? Fuck Gable Massey. I'm not asking. I'm not waiting for an answer. Fuck Gable Massey.
I mean,
yeah, I'm too small to be monitored, so it's all good. We're
okay.
Let Gabe. I mean, come on, Gabe needs it. Let him be a part of this.
Right. Yeah, all he's doing is he's eating gross chocolate for just embarrassing himself.
If you put dollar store in the title of your video, you get those clicks.
Yeah.
It's a smart move. I don't hate it.
Yeah, no. The algorithms of me have been battling a little bit. And because of that, please hit like. That really kind of helps, especially with the fact that the new YouTube channel, if you are watching on the new YouTube channel, just hit a subscribe. If anyone wants to know stuff about the algorithms, just send me a PM because I've been learning. Now, you guys, obviously, with the different styles, you still work well together, and you work on stage complementary to each other. You're not like some people who kind of buddy up and then they both begin to sound the same. You're both distinct voices, which I think is a good thing.
Well, who would want to be like Oren Shbiro? You know what I mean? Like, why would I? Those parts of my personality, I just stuff them down as much as possible. Every time they try to bubble up, I just, you can't. Like, it's too much. On one show, imagine a 90-minute show and you have 20 minutes of whatever he's doing.
Yeah, Jason spent his whole life looking for a personality, and then he met me, and he's like, who needs a personality if that's what it looks like? That's not necessary for anyone.
You got it.
Yeah, I think also that's a big part of it is that I think we had we became friends talking about the comedy scene a lot, and we had a lot of similar likes and dislikes to what was to the people and the things going on, and we spent so much time together that I think that it's really, our podcast is our normal conversations. Like when Jason comes over and we start talking before the podcast starts, we usually have to say, stop, save it for the podcast, because anything we're saying right now is what we need, because it's actually not, we didn't have to come up with anything to create a dynamic for the podcast. We just felt that
it's natural, baby.
Yeah, especially without comedy at all. I need to show off. I need validation from somewhere, so
yeah. My girlfriend is tired of hearing should you travel within the inside of a woman's body, whatever the fuck we were talking about last time. Like, if you could shrink yourself down a size and travel through the human body, which parts would you explore?
Which is fair,
It's a fair question. If we ever find ourselves in a magic school bus situation, we need to know where we're going to go.
Yeah. So is Tushy going to be sponsoring you guys or not?
We haven't heard back from Tushy, even though Oren's bought the product. We're just waiting from there. I don't know. We need to be signed off by their PR, maybe. They need to see some numbers.
Yeah, it might be an anti-Semitic thing also. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah, SodaStream's coming on board, but we'll see.
If Tushy doesn't come on board, we'll spread some vicious rumors about their what's it called? I'm missing words, but basically they've been waterboarding people out in Guantanamo Bay with the Tushy product.
What a product, though.
No, Oren, until they come on board, we're not saying that they're good.
So the website is www.friendshiphour.com. Just so for those, there's 28 episodes currently.
Somehow, yeah, half a year.
We have not taken a week off somehow.
Yeah, we have.
All right, so it's weekly that it's been coming out.
It is. We've been doing them through Zoom recently. Just because of the restrictions with COVID, we don't feel like the podcast hasn't warranted us getting a $1,500 fine over it yet. But once we get the springtime, hopefully when COVID starts to go down a little bit, we'll have like guests and stuff. Once we run out of stuff to talk about, just between me and Oren. But it is weekly, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna, since you mentioned Zoom, I'm gonna just plug Streamyard.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't go right ahead. It's what you use. So you want to flip it around so you see the logo, Oren?
No, he just wants to promote his own stupid face.
His own face.
It's the brand. Come on.
But Streamyard, yeah, the duck sort of looks like me. Streamyard is the system I use. It's really easy, and it kind of makes it look slick and professional.
Yeah, it looks good.
And there's a free version to it as well. If anyone wants to connect with it, send me a private message. I will send you with your email. I will send that to them, and that way that you get the link. You can try it for free, and if you want to buy, then I get a free month, and you get a discount. So yeah,
that sounds worth it.
Not a pyramid scheme.
Not a pyramid scheme. Not a pyramid scheme at all. But I like it. Now, what challenges did you guys find taking it online? You're on Podbean as well as your own website, or?
Well, no, we're on Simplecast. Which is similar, I guess. I did some research, but honestly, all of it went through the wayside because I forgot that Oren is our producer. We don't need all the extra little things that come with certain podcast hosting services. Oren does all the editing and all of the promo stuff. So we could have gone with a simpler platform, but Simplecast is the one.
Yeah, so we're on Simplecast, but they put us out to everything, so you can just download everywhere. And then we also
Spotify, Apple.
We also have our own domain, just for why not? Because I want to track those clicks. And then we're also on YouTube.
Yes,
so we're everywhere we think you could possibly find a podcast.
Just Google Friendship Hour. Just go on the website. You saw it before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just I'll bring that link back up for people to find. If anyone has any questions, they can add them in. So, how have you guys been dealing with the lockdown? We're all in Montreal, so Montreal has been closed. We've been more locked down than almost any other Canadian city when it comes to performance venues. So, how have you guys been dealing with that, other than spitting out a podcast?
I've been cutting myself. That's been helpful for the momentarily pain.
Yeah, I just distracted myself with purchases, and I don't know. Instead of writing, I just do half-baked ideas, and we'll flesh this out in the podcast.
Yeah, no, I think though, like for me, it was like there was a moment when we started getting to do shows again, and they were weird. But it's so funny how much now I just miss that version of comedy. Even when that version of comedy was happening, I'm like, I don't even think I want to do it if it's like this forever, you know. And now I'm just pining for it. And
Yeah,
I think,
the shows where you're like scolding the audience just for being there.
yeah, I really was like, why are you all here? My grandmother's gonna die because you're irresponsible. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good job on being funny, making everyone feel bad and reminding them of the death that's looming. But I think the podcast is a big saving grace where it makes me feel somewhat involved and I'm still thinking funny and still having that in mind and trying to think of bits and just ideas that we could talk about come to the show. Because we're pretty good at bouncing ideas off of each other. You could just bring something up and try to go into, you know, the space of whatever's happening. And it's tough, though. A whole part of me is missing, and it feels like it's never coming back, if you want the honest truth right now.
As he smiles with the most depressing thought. Jason, your take on that?
I forgot the question.
All right, let's get that mug in the big window.
Hell yeah. No, it's just the other side, dude. No one needs to see your face. You see it already. Turn it around.
That's
There you go.
Our producer bought us this, which is very sweet.
You cannot buy it anywhere, and it doesn't do anything.
What? You guys are not using Teespring?
We should, eh?
Not yet. Maybe our 4 listeners in Wisconsin will support us.
Do you want to share how many subscribers you have at this point, or?
Well, we lost one today on YouTube. Which
no way. We're back to 69, maybe.
Which is an issue because we promised we would 69 when we got to 69. So like now it's staying that number.
Yeah. Someone's unsubscribing, resubscribing until it just goes to 69 and stays there.
Yeah, because we didn't put any fine print that we wouldn't do it again and again every time it got to 69. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. But I think we're more like, you know, I think what's happening on the downloads for audio is more interesting than what's happening on YouTube, just because it's hard to really track. People could just be coming in for a second, leaving, you know. So even when you get 150, they just don't feel very committed. As when audio happens, it feels like these people are committed to listening to you. And you see them pop up. Like we have a little with the platform, the hosting service. We see like where they download from, and you see them coming back week after week. So you know that either they're downloading by accident week after week and not listening, or they're actually listening and enjoying it and just. And we're seeing about like 30 people that like listen, you know, per good episode. So you know, but there are downs and there are ups.
Yeah.
And, you know,
we lost. We had one faithful fan in Kuwait, and then Oren kept making fun of mint tea, and we lost him about halfway through the run so far. 15 episodes, and he just quit on us because Oren kept making fun of backgammon.
It was more because I think he realized that he was that maybe I was of the
Jewish
faith, and he was like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Oh, he wasn't kidding about that. Okay, I'm out.
Did he say his middle name was Zion? Okay, no, we're not we can't listen to this anymore.
It's 100% true. Oren's middle name is Zion.
Jason, you've got a chance to travel doing comedy. I mean, you've done the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yes.
And is there anything that you want to talk about being more on the road, or do you hold that superiority over Oren? Or
I don't know. Or I think Oren and I both have done an open mic in Vegas as well. We're both there for non-comedy reasons, and both separately did open mics in Vegas. Which has got to be the weirdest fucking scene I've ever seen in my life. It was just like, just anyone who you imagine lives in Vegas and would do an open mic in Vegas is who's there. Yeah. Just like a punk rock bar in a strip mall. Just, you know. Anyways, that was weird. But
did
you both play the same place, or?
I don't know where.
Maybe for all I know, but I don't know. But I remember it was a weird. Like I meant like all of them were weird, and they really loved to like when they introduced me on stage. They were because I said I was from Montreal. They're like, from Just for Laughs, Montreal. Like they were really rubbing it in that I was from Just for Laughs City, you know? Because it's funny how people really think that we're such a comedy city because of 2 months of the year are
2
so
months.
focused on
Let's face
comedy.
it boils down to 2.5 weeks, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, do people think we're also the jazz city of the world? I don't understand. Just because we have a festival, it becomes the culture of the city? I don't understand. Anyways, yeah, but they were weird, and all the guys there, just because no one lives in Vegas. Whoever plants themselves in Vegas is a confused individual. They were on the run, and
Yeah, they're not allowed to go
point.
back wherever they're from. Yeah.
Tracy
Exactly.
Skeen and Brian McKim are both
Yes.
based out of Vegas.
They were that was my first paid weekend or unpaid weekend. I forget. That was my first weekend.
First weekend, okay.
Yeah, that was my first weekend before Young Guns. Was those two? That was great. They were nice.
The comedy-ness. They are brilliant people, and I think they've resurrected the Shecky magazine, which was a website they ran, and they used to have people like Patton Oswalt write for them, and put up all kinds of articles. I have to check that out. That's on my list to do. So you know what? This was just proof that it is the friendship hour, because I sort of put a slight diss towards Oren for not, touring, and Jason doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and Jason went and he reached over and grabbed his friend to say, no, he's done an unpaid
He's done
show.
one open mic in Vegas. The Fringe, I would say the Fringe was like probably the best comedy experience I've had. It was great to also just live in like this weird prison style place where it was like 700 square feet and 6 guys just stinking it up for a month,
Plus you lost your virginity there. That was
plus me and Wasim and Sarag had a threesome on the top of Arthur's Peak or whatever it's called, Arthur's Seat. The Fringe is great. I'm sure the other ones and the big ones in Australia are also great. I'm sure. I've done a bit. Like I haven't really traveled that much. I've done Toronto. I did a lot more of Toronto back when I had time to go back and forth for a week. Ottawa, but besides that, I haven't really done any comedy west of I guess Vegas, but west of Toronto, Canada. I haven't been. Yeah, it's been limited to these parts.
Well, you're both young yet in now. Here's the other part is do you guys think that you'd be leaving Montreal? Like once comedy does come back, will you feel the drive to go to an even larger city that is more Anglo and more Anglo comedy opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. It's not in my direct path. I always really had to feel that I was just, I really wanted to feel on top of my game in Montreal before I really ever thought about going anywhere else. I just don't see a reason why, if you can't be the best you can and get the most spots you possibly could get, then why not just try here as hard as you can until you feel like you've gotten as far as you could possibly get. But I definitely, the States would be much more my feeling as opposed to moving somewhere else in Canada. I'd love to try that market. That would be very interesting.
I think I'll be sticking around here. I don't know. It's the grind. Like when I started, obviously, like the grind is much more alluring and stuff. But now, as things kind of settle in life, you kind of like. I think Montreal is a good spot to be. I've got the day job, which I don't think I'll be letting go of anytime soon.
Jason's quitting comedy. This is the announcement. It's all happening right now. It's the announcement.
Not quitting comedy. I'm just gonna become a full-time podcaster.
Yeah, exactly.
with Oren over here. Yeah. No, but I think you could do some good stuff while being based out of here. I think and you can like kind of travel around and you can use Toronto as a it's right there. It's not that long. It's a 6-hour, 5-hour train ride, and you can go back and forth and kind of do a little mini boot camp for a week and do your 30 sets in that week, and then come back. And it's doable to be based out of here. Obviously, it's not like the States where you can be based out of. You don't have to be in New York City or LA, and you have like a bunch of cities around, like Nashville, for example. You do like Chicago, and you can go down to Missouri and do St. Louis and all that. It's all in a driving distance. But here, it's like you got to kind of pick your spot. There's less road available.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you mentioned the train because it's 5 hours by train. Like if you take the express train from like downtown Montreal to downtown Toronto, and you only have to be there like 15 minutes ahead of time, or not even that on sometimes. Yeah. But if you take the flight and you're not going into Toronto Island, you're going into Pearson, that's like 6 hours.
Yeah, because you
You got
gotta
to be there 2 hours
drive.
ahead of time. You
Yeah.
got to wait for your luggage, or even if you have your carry on, you still have to, get on the train or find a way into the city after that. And depending on traffic, can be a real pain. So, uh,
No, the train rules. Get some writing done.
yeah, much
It's
more
a good
relaxing.
spot. Yeah.
It's bathroom is about equal. There's
I like the train. I just don't hate. I don't understand how they haven't figured out their Wi-Fi situation on those things yet. I mean, they always say that they have Wi-Fi, and then you connect to it, and it does nothing. You can't. Well, you could barely. You get a letter a second loaded on your phone.
Yeah, McDonald's got better Wi-Fi than Via Rail.
Yeah, come on, fix that, Via.
Come on, Via. Let's get a true national train service, because if you head east, it's I think 27 or 28 hours to Halifax.
Wow.
It's 16 if you drive,
Right.
or 14 if you drive now. So, uh, now, Oren, if I can say, like, becoming sort of like the big fish here, getting as strong as you can here before you move out, you have to restart when you go to a new city. It's like there are comedians who sort of get trapped in becoming like the king of their local scene,
Yes.
and then it just becomes such a hardship when they're trying to spread out from there, that it can give anger issues, or just be so frustrating that they're going to stop.
And I know exactly who you're talking about, and I respect the point. I'm just you're like, I wasn't talking about anybody.
Just see the panic on my
Yeah, I
face.
see it slowly developing. But I could think personally of people who that makes complete sense with, and I've seen it happen before, and I think you're right. I just think that there's obviously, like, I could obviously be a solid middler within Ontario and Montreal. You know what I mean? Before heading out to, let's say, the States to try to make my claim, because I still think that there's growing to be done as a comic, not even in the networking and all that. I just think there's growth as a comedian that needs to be happening, and I have the opportunity here to have better crowds to work that stuff on. And as you said, like, if I moved somewhere else, I'd start from the beginning again, and I wouldn't be able to craft, let's say, my first 25 minutes that I know is gold, because I'm not even there, like, I don't have 25 minutes that are really good yet, that are amazing. So I want to get there, and then at that point, then I'm like, wow, I should be taking this elsewhere. But I don't, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm not even close to that. So
every city also has its own flavor. So you'll find that something that is gold here is not going to hit without some major reworking in another city.
But we do have a very like Montreal tends to be very I don't know if liberal is the right word, but it's just like, it's one of the places you have to be the most careful on stage. You have to choose your words properly. You can't just lean towards like an all-male dude bro audience and just say things that you could say in New York and Boston and all those places. And so Montreal really makes sure you stay within the boundaries that you have to stay in. And I think that when you go outside, all of a sudden you start listening to comics that are on big stages. You're like, how are you saying that? In Montreal, you wouldn't get booked more than once a month if you talked like that. So we do get a good, like a crowd that like teaches you how to be a pretty broad comedian, off the top, which I like about Montreal. Where I think like Toronto, you could do certain shows that'll just make you feel like you're killing it, but then you just don't do all, like, you're just finding the ones that are good for you. You're a crowds, but here,
Montreal. I mean, we're a city. What, 3 million? Are we? Anyway,
Yeah.
Well, we'll say if you know how many people are in Montreal, just mention it in chat. Yeah. But if you take a look at that, I mean that's a fair-sized city, but we're only like a large town of English first people who live here, right. and not all those people go out to comedy. And there's so many like things that are aimed at like that are not language based for entertainment that you're competing with when you have comedy. I mean, we have the Comedy Nest. It seems like we only ever have one thriving comedy club at a time in this city, and one of the benefits though of staying here is that we have the Comedy Nest is bringing in headliners from outside, or they will be when we're back up and running, and it's making those connections with people here, and that can kind of maybe give you a little bit of an in when you do travel to other cities. and especially with the States, because we have so many Americans who are coming in
Right.
to perform.
Even our show, we've been lucky. I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to go when I went to Toronto, and like I know that if I go to LA, I have a couple names to reach out to who've done Comedy Village, and they're names that are like they've gone on to do like Conan's and stuff like that. So I know that if I go to LA, it's not going to be just me
Full of
hitting
strangers.
mics for full, for drunk comics who don't care, right? Like I know I'll have maybe one good show booked if I go out there.
Yeah.
Same with across Canada. So it's a good tool to have.
And I was also going to mention Just for Laughs being that chance. I mean, they made fun of you in Vegas for being from Montreal Just for Laughs festival, but that also in that week there's a lot of networking that can be done, though there's not a lot of stage time for locals at that point. Certain things can happen, but you do get that face time, and let's face it, what happens off the stage is usually more important with making those connections with people in other cities.
Yeah.
The thing I wanted to touch on though was with Comedy Village, or it's Comedy Village now? Yeah. I sorry, it's because the name change. It's still in my head. With Comedy Village, have you been in contact with the M Hostel, or do you know if when things come back you'll be back there, or will you be seeking a new venue, or are you just gonna say
we haven't really been in contact. All I know is like we canceled the last show we were supposed to do. Was like I think we were one of the first shows to cancel right before COVID hit in March. We made a decision because it's a hostel, so you have people from all over the world. So like if anyone was going to get COVID from a comedy show, it's going to be us. And they respected this. They said back then, we're looking forward to having you guys again. So, and on their website, it says all events like comedy shows are suspended indefinitely. But so to us, we're just assuming we'll be back whenever things get normal again.
Yeah, and the truth is, in regards to like moving the show, it's not really a show to be moved. Our audience, like we have a good trust within that hostel, the people who work there, the people who've stayed there, who will stay there long term. I don't know that if we moved it to another hostel, it's all about who's there and who's staying there. It's not like we have this name that we can bring to another hostel that'll bring them all in, and that's kind of where that show lives. So maybe we'd start another show if it disappeared, but we're really excited to bring it back.
Yeah.
If and when, hopefully 2037 or whenever,
and
I was just gonna say they are like a very well regarded hostel. If you go on the whatever, it's like hostelworld.com's #1 big hostel in the world. So
do they own that website? We don't know. But
we don't know, but someone named them. Someone said they were all right. So
you brought up a very good point. Is the relationship with a venue when you're running a show.
Yeah.
Now you guys sort of inherited that show, but you definitely made it your own. How was that interaction with the staff to begin with? Like, did it?
We had the bartender right now. The head bartender loves us. The security people love us. There was a moment where there was a bartender from France, this lady who hated the show, was staying at the hostel, and I had heard her. I heard her in the cafeteria talking shit about the show, about how it was a horrible show, how the comics were horrible. She hated the show so much and would talk crap about it every chance she got.
And she would invite her friends to come hang out and talk with her in the back of the bar while the show was going on.
Right.
And it'd be like impossible to get them to be quiet. They'd all like start playing like foosball or something like that and just be so loud. And it was really, really troublesome. So it is crazy how one employee can take the show and you'd get there and you'd see who's at the bar and instantly you'd be like, God.
Fuck it. Yeah, it's one of these nights.
Oh,
she was brutal.
Yeah.
I think she moved, and
But
we're very happy about it.
speaking, they like us. They like that we bring people into the bar. That's on quieter nights like Sundays, even on Thursdays. They like when we're there, we provide a good show to the people who are naturally in that room. We're just, like it's always about that weird thing is like, is that comedy show bringing patrons or removing patrons who are like, we're going to be there naturally and just want to yell and scream and you're telling them to hush versus what was going to be the capacity of that bar before your show, So Sundays in the summer works really well for us. Thursdays in the winter. It's a great schedule. It's been there for so long now at this point. We took it over from John Selig, who did a great job with the room. Like really had like a huge following when it started. It was big, but John had a whole brand with Comedy Abroad that was not just the room. It was also kind of bringing comedians to different countries and doing shows and raising money. So he obviously wanted to continue that brand moving forward without the hostel. So we wanted to just take over the show itself. So that's pretty much why it got rebranded. We were a lot of lawyers, a lot of copyright rules. It was crazy. If you saw the movie The Social Network, a lot like that, but like funny.
Not a lot of people know John's got an equally tall twin.
I've because there was two of you, I thought you guys were the twins.
Right.
Jason Witches.
No, we got Oren's Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm the Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
I got so many questions. Do you favorite show moments? Let's hear that, and then we're going to talk about what's happening in the future and what happened in the past year. So, do you guys have a favorite show moment that you want to get? Oren, I know. Thank you very much for mentioning the vaudeville variety show.
Yes.
But do you have another moment that kind of stood out, or like a crazy show story that's just you just love to sort of recite, or?
Yeah, well, there's two. I remember like one of my favorite moments as a comedian was like when I started. That really made me feel like, oh wow, I like this. Like I need more of this. That kind of feeling. Like I was a New Year's Eve show that they put together at the Comedy Works. That was it was just packed to the brim, and there were so many people there, and I just he put on all these newer comics to fill up the spots because he doesn't like. I don't know, to pay more for the comics that have been doing it a long time. But, sometimes he's right because we did kill that show. We did. We all did really well. And just watching the audience, and they were all like kind of dressed up because it was New Year's Eve, and it was this giant night, and it felt so good. And then we all partied at Grumpy's afterwards, and it was like this moment. I was like, yeah, this is what I want life to feel like because this is amazing, But Funny Show was also at the Comedy Works, same venue, about like fast forward 6 months or something like that, and there was no heating in the place. It's the middle of the winter. Chris Bonaparte is the Truth was headlining that weekend, and it was dark. There was no light. I don't think the speakers were working. There were 4 people who came in off of Groupons. You could see everyone's breath. We were all just shivering, and Chris Bonaparte spoke the truth up there, regardless of anything in his way. And it was one of the craziest shows I'd ever done. I was like, what are we even doing? Just 6 months later, same venue.
I'm actually wearing the Zach Kick
cool.
shirt
That's
that
fine.
John Ray prints up.
That's fine. So, support.
I'll say like most fun show. I also did a New Year's show at Comedy Works. Same type of deal as Oren, but actually one more person in the audience than Oren's show. It was exactly one. There's a little bit more at capacity than Oren's show, and everyone was in tuxedos. And no, but it was a fun. I don't know if was it the same one as you did. I forget. Mine was Gabe, Hanif. Hanif was just, he had never met the booker before, and Hanif was on. I forget, but yeah, that was a great crowd. That was fun. I would say another great show was the roast of me and Oren that I handedly won.
He's just you see what he's doing.
It's the one-upmanship. It's that's part of your guys' dynamic, though.
Right.
That's why.
Well, I mean, It's not one-upmanship if it's the truth. I won and I beat Oren in 3 rounds, even though I only needed 2. But the roast was so fun that they made us do a 3rd round, even if I had won the first 2 out of 3.
Everyone knows it's easier to roast an actual celebrity, you know what I mean, than it is to roast a no-name that no one really knows. You know?
Right. Anyway. But yeah, that was fun. I like the roast a lot. We had like a month and a half to write it, so it was actually a good product. I think we delivered, I think. Whereas like after I beat Oren, I had like a week to write for all the other people. So those were not as I don't think they were as strong of jokes and stuff. But I still like I really like what we did, me and Oren.
I like that subtle dig that you just threw in that I had time to pre-write, unlike somebody else's
Right.
creative style.
Well, it's crazy the amount of funny things you can write when you hate the Jews. It's it's amazing how those jokes just flow, isn't it, Jason?
No.
When's the Iranian comedy tour happening? Tehran Comedy Festival is calling.
There's a few more listeners from Kuwait, and then we're getting into it.
Now, this has been, I mean, not just COVID. This has been a huge year overall with everything that has happened in the world. I mean, COVID, of course, and the lockdown,
What else happened?
the world famine.
And I said, what else happened?
What else? Well, okay, what's happened or still kind of happening in the United States with the election there?
The what?
The Black Lives Matters.
Okay.
Jason was just telling me, but it's funny because also right before this, he was like, "Well, he's still my president." That's what he was saying the whole time right before that we went on this. And I was like, okay, Jason, I mean, like whatever you want, I don't.
I'm part of the 1/3 of Trump supporters who know he didn't win, but still wants him to
exactly.
disrupt the voting process.
He wanted to call our last episode "Fraud 2020." I was like, oh, it's ridiculous.
And then we settled on Tushy, please sponsor us.
I think you guys made the better choice.
Yeah,
though the other one would have probably got a lot more clicks and probably a bit of hate mail for Oren.
Yeah.
Our next sponsorship attempt is going to be the My Pillow guy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he sells his soul for anything.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely did it for a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to George Floyd and when that happened and seeing that kind of the recordings of that happening, which was so hard to watch. Like, did you guys think at that time that okay, this is going to change something, or was it just like another moment?
I remember thinking, I hope Netflix adds a new section for this movement, and that's what I was thinking mainly. They better do it, and they did, and I was happy about it. I don't think that I really like. You can't call something like that. You can't know what's going to happen or how the world's going to turn when huge moments like that happen. And I think my instinct was just like sit back and watch, and see who makes the right decisions and how things move forward. And I think if there's anything to say over the last year of all the bad and all the annoying and all the sad, the BLM movement is the one bright shining star that happened. So out of an awful thing that happened, they managed to create a movement which created tons of awareness, and lots of things are happening and moving and people are paying attention. So the BLM is the one good thing of the year, really, when I think about it.
And Jason, counterpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Jason,
not setting that up.
No, Oren pretty much. Or that was well said for once. Oren was able to.
After a joke bombs, you can really just okay, now say something good, Oren. say something nice and sweet after that off the Netflix bomb.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know what else needs to be said.
But then you're like, what is funny about this, and how can I write about it? That's instantly where my mind.
Not for me.
Because it's similar.
Some stuff you don't touch.
And that's that joke I wrote, was that Netflix added a section called BLM. They also added a section for movies made by Jewish filmmakers. It's called Everything Else.
Right.
Support us over there.
See, I don't have that. I don't have that card to play, so I just I let the experts like Oren deal with it.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that this has been that there's actually going to be beyond Netflix, like positive social change moving forward? Do you think people are going to be more aware that things will actually change, or do you think it's going to go back to business as normal within
I
once the
think
vaccine is out? And
things just take a lot of time, so it's like it might seem like not a lot's happening while you're living in it, but uh, like the Civil Rights Act was what, 60, 70 years ago. It's really just a blink of an eye, right? So like while you're in a movement that's happening, as it's happening, like it's hard to see the progress. So I'm sure like looking back in like 20 years we'll see something happening, but right now it might seem like not much is happening.
Yeah. Besides, I mean, Ariel in the new Little Mermaid is going to be black. So if that's not a win, I don't know what is. What else could they possibly want? We got Liam Neeson in our movie. Which is pretty good. They got a black guy in there. It's good. I think it's working out. Everything's going to work out, man. Don't worry, Paul. Don't be concerned. Everything's going to be fine. Okay.
I'm old. I just want to know if the world's going to burn when I'm trying to, walk with my cane.
Dude, I think
it's going to burn.
I think at this point also like I don't know. At least everyone's keeping distance, so you can't hurt anybody. So it's like just everyone stays away from everybody, so there's no hugging and there's no hurting. It's kind of it's a win-win.
All right, you're Montrealers. Montreal is the conspiracy theory capital of Canada. What is your take on that? Like the father of the flat Earth movement is an ex-comedian from Montreal.
Oh,
Really?
The modern
that
father.
makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see some of his like stand-up routines where he starts talking about different conspiracies, like chemtrails and the flat Earth movement. Online still.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just bomb hard enough at Grumpy's that your brain starts to process information differently.
It's a possibility. But yeah,
I mean, it's all a troll. I think all flat earthers are trolls. There's no real flat earthers out there. It's just a giant troll movement that's kind of funny in a way how successful it is, because it's crazy. That's one thing where you can talk to someone and they're just they'll just tell you that everything you say is wrong with no theory behind it. So it's not even a fun conspiracy theory like JFK is, where there's a lot of
a real fun one, dude.
Real fun
tons
one.
of fun. I could spend hours on that one.
But they teamed up with like the Flat Earthers, the Hare Krishnas, the Montreal office of QAnon, the Quebecois Trump supporters, and the evangelical Christians teamed up for another anti-mask rally just within the past week.
It was a fun time.
That's our city. That's kind of like that's out there. Those people are in our audiences when we're doing comedy.
Yeah.
Well, not the Hare Krishnas because they don't laugh, but it's.
I think like that's kind of good for me that they're in the audience. Those are easier to make laugh. Those people,
they're
like
simple.
All right. Yeah, they're simple people. I can really craft jokes for the simple-minded. That's no problem at all. It's those thinkers that could be an issue.
If they figure out how to use the escalators to get up to the comedy venue.
The stairs moving. When do I step on that stair?
Walking. Keep walking up the down one.
Yeah, we saw it, Jason. Thanks for painting the picture. We figured what you meant when trouble
just
with
crushed
the
Jason. I just saw his smile just sort of like droop slowly. It was. Now, did you guys see the video from? I think it's Harvey, Illinois. Just like 2 days ago.
No.
A group of cops took down and arrested a black man. And it ended up being like 8 or 10 cops at the end. Yeah. And one of the cops, a black cop, picked him up to escort him over to the vehicle. I don't know what was said, but a white cop punched the guy who was handcuffed.
Oh, really?
The black cop who was escorting the criminal pushed the guy away and then pointed at him, and then 3 cops came over and handcuffed that cop.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
That's it's still shitty, but it's good to see that there are cops who are stopping these kind of things, whereas before it's always been the blue wall, you stand for your brothers kind of thing.
Right.
So what will happen with that cop, we don't know. But
I think
nice
that
to-
that's really strange, though. Like, I mean, so this guy punches the criminal or the accused, rather.
the accused, a black gentleman who was being arrested on the street. Yeah.
And so then this other policeman instructed all the other policemen to then arrest the other police officer just for punching the guy. Like, you can just
For
put someone
assaulting,
under
yeah.
arrest. Oh, yeah?
Assault's still against the law. I mean, a handcuffed guy who was now under control.
Right. Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I don't understand why they have to like put him in cuffs. He's a police officer. You know what I mean? You could just accuse him and then take away his badge and gun and.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
it shows that he doesn't have a respect for the law. If he's a cop who has a badge and a gun, and he's comfortable assaulting somebody who's handcuffed.
Yeah, sure. You should go away. That's definitely not.
Yeah.
And was the guy who was like who pointed to arrest? Was he like the sergeant or whatever? Like however that works.
Apparently,
Mr.
like
Sad?
I watched the video like twice. He showed up later, and
Okay.
he showed up in an SUV rather than a cop car.
Yeah.
But it was still all cop, painted with the white door, black body to the car, to the SUV.
That's nice to see. Well, let's see. There you go. There's some movement, right? A little bit, a nudge in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'll take a nudge.
You'll take a nudge. I think that might be a nudge towards the end of the show. We've been close to an hour here. I kind of only really budget that we do it for a half hour, but this has been a lot of fun. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Hell
that's
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And do you want to punch out again when the friendship hour is? People, when does the upload happen? Because you don't do it live.
We
Jason,
upload
go,
it
tell him.
usually on a
Tell him, Jason,
Tuesday,
tell him everything about it.
if not Wednesday. If Oren's lazy. If Oren's lazy, doesn't feel like working for his fans, we upload on a Wednesday. But usually it's Tuesday around 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's when Oren's feeling like doing his job.
And that's
which he's
every week.
every week.
Goddamn
Tuesday,
hilarious.
occasionally Wednesday.
Yeah.
I like it how Jason actually just sort of like admitted that Oren is the one who has the fans. Like he said, well, Oren does it for whenever he feels like doing it for his fans, not like our fans.
Yeah.
He said his fans.
Did I say that? I feel like
Yeah.
I want to say the fans. That
Oh, well, that's okay. We'll talk about it off air, okay?
we only have conversations that are recorded now.
Talk anymore off air. We've eliminated that relationship completely.
Yep, just the way I like it.
There we are. This has been They Talk Funny. I think we are at the end of the friendship for the friendship hour.
Yeah,
This has been a lot of fun. It was great seeing you guys. Happy holidays. Happy
Yeah, you
holidays
too.
to everybody out there who are watching. Thank you for those who commented. And you can always watch it on replay.
Awesome.
Like and subscribe, please.